Hi, welcome to a new episode of Fog of War. I'm Matt Kuzminski, art director on Dawn of War 3.
And I'm Tristan, lead environment artist on Dawn of War 3.
Cibers Ultima is our medieval world that expresses the sort of way of life or the style of life that people in the 41st millennium experience. There's also a number of little details that we did as well. There's little nooks and crannies of things and stuff in the non-playable spaces that kind of draw your eye a little bit, not too much that it competes with gameplay, but enough that you sort of see little corners of the map that make you go, oh, that's cool, that's neat, I want to know more about that, what's going on there. And so that was a big part of making maps that people wanted to come back to over and over again.
The natural rock sets were designed in a way that the artists had a lot of freedom to create some unique rock formations. The walls and structures were designed to in a modular way so they could tile vertically and horizontally to allow us to create a lot of different unique layouts. Gave the designers a lot of freedom to create a variety of spaces.
The whole intent around Cage World was to create something very alien and very disorienting. And also, for me, I wanted to do something that players had never really seen in a Dawn of War game before, something very, very unique. Derived from the idea that you could build a world out of sort of interconnecting blocks of almost living metal, so to speak. The desire to revisit the worlds was something that was really important to me, and it was something that I put to as a challenge to the environment team. How can we create these worlds so that when I look at them, they still feel very 40K, they feel like an expression of what we've seen in the paintings, what we've seen in the tabletop, what we've seen even in our previous games, but do it in a way that makes the player feel like, hey, I can come back to this place, and there's sort of something appealing about it, there's something intriguing, and then there's a touch of mystery, but that I can also, see the action, I can see the battle taking place.
So Starfort, it's a rather new tile set in the Dawn of War franchise. With some of our technology, with Alpha Terrain, basically unstrapped us from the ground and let us do something that, in space or in low orbit. And the architecture is sort of a nod to the Gothic kind of grimdark direction, but it's also sort of fresh in that it's a giant space station or a giant war machine that you're playing on. So just having that sense that you're fighting on this big battle barge type of map was really exciting.
The sheer scale of them and the size of the weaponry on display on them, they are the sort of ultimate expression of Imperium technology.
From an engineering and design standpoint, how would these structures be built? How thick do the walls need to be to support a 300-foot cathedral, for example, and how all the different pieces of the Starfort need to fit together and feel mechanically convincing and feel that, yeah, this structure could actually support a whole army on it in space. We're really facilitating gameplay. So the way I look at maps a lot of the time is just it's a canvas for the units and the gameplay. So the clean areas are really to help frame the units. Where there's no gameplay, that's the area where we sort of do some of our storytelling.
Acheron is the most violent world that we have. There's lava spewing everywhere. There's these ever-shifting glaciers of ice that are moving across the surface, and they're perpetually collapsing into the volcanic action beneath it. But we wanted something that had an element of beauty to it. That was, when I look at it, I'm like, wow, that looks really, really cool. I don't want to go on a vacation there, but there's something neat about escaping into that world, and that was part of the challenge. And part of it was creating those color palettes that would invite you in. And that is a very iterative process. That is constantly going back saying well, right now it looks too friendly and it looks too happy. How can we make that feel a bit darker? As a player, I find myself trying to parse out the details and try to parse out what was gameplay and what was just visual noise and what was just, decoration in the maps. So a lot of it was okay, hold on, let's think about what we really need to convey this world to frame the action and take people to someplace really interesting and cool. So there you have it, some of the environments you're going to be seeing in Dawn of War 3.
Thanks for watching, and I can't wait for you guys to play the game.
Your cowering lord, no one, including him, will touch it so long as I live.
If you're set on staying this